Okay, I only know those two people, those families with those names in one village. And they write it Barbarena and Navaloy. Okay, and I have another two names which supposed to be French.
Clother, yeah.
Clother and Soissons, supposedly. Anybody has more information about it? Right.
So there is no Suazo in Spain? It's not originated in Spanish? Suazo?
I don't know. But we should remember that few centuries ago, there was no clear boundary in the countries which is
Europe
today.
That's right.
There were a lot of interchange between Italy, French, Portugal due to the war. So that is why there is a lot of confusion about the identity based on the skin only, because there is a lot of brown skinned people in Spain with Arabic origin.
Yeah.
Okay. We call more my attention paper about how we speak about Garifuna people in Honduras. There is some tendency, I think, is to commercialize the name of Garifuna. There are some who call themselves leaders, who's now they are not using or they are reducing the use of the word Garifuna to change it for Afro-descendientes or Afro-Caribeños or Afro, I don't know.
Afro, I don't know. It's true. Do we have a family here?
A fan?
Yeah, family.
Oh, we can open
Can
it
you
door.
open the back door?
It will be too noisy. It's a lot of noise. If you
What is
will,
outside?
huh?
Is it noisy?
I think it's gonna be noisy. Let's try it. Okay.
Try and close it.
We have here 5 vocabularies.
Melesio,
Yes, sir.
before you continue, I just Googled Soazo. In Ancestry.com, it says that it's a Soazo name meaning and history. It's a Castilianized form of Basque. Zuhatsu, habitational name from places in Araba and Navarre, named Zuhatsu from Basque. Zuhatsu plus the collective suffix.
Okay.
So
That's from
Spanish.
the north of Spain.
Yeah, in between, it's its own country.
And
Alright.
the name can be found, people are still using it in places like South Colorado, the Philippines, New Mexico, Michoacan, San Jose, California, so, Honduras, they have Honduras too. So what's on the Honduras?
So it's a
Ampala.
Spanish origin.
Alright.
Amapala, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Just like
Okay.
Flores.
Those are the words they use interchangeably to Garifuna in Honduras. Afro-descendientes. If you pay attention clearly to Afro-descendientes, that means Spanish with African descendant or African with a Spanish descendant, which is possible and is real, but not for us. Because there is no Garifuna in Honduras born in Spain. I don't know one.
Maybe one.
Okay. But I don't know one. I don't know one. But there might be some, but I don't know one. But of course, there are Afro-Hispanic or there are a lot, because don't you forget that before 1945, Spain controlled a big piece in north central of Spain, in the Sahara.
In Africa.
In Africa.
Yeah.
So you will find African descendants all over the world. White people from England, white people from Holland, black from French, from Spain, whose ancestors were born in Africa. Now they are living in America, but they are African descendants. But in Honduras, when they spoke about Afro-descendant, they are talking about Garifuna only, which is a big mistake, maybe due to lack of information or anything else. I don't know.
Money.
More business, yes. Because they are collecting money from donors who, for any reason, they want to erase the word Garifuna.
Correct.
So we are not Garifuna anymore for them, but we are Afro-descendant, I don't know what. But I continue being Garifuna. It is important for us people to distinguish what is your ethnicity, what is your race, what is your native language, what is the official language of the country where you live. I belong to the Garifuna ethnicity. I'm black by race. I do speak Spanish, but it's not my native language. Yes, sir.
If the children would ask you why, what would be your explanation?
So we have to take chance and explain to them. It's our responsibility, people. We should feel proud to be what we are, regardless where we are living today. Okay? We should be proud to be Garifuna. We should be proud to speak whatever language we learn along the way, but without forgetting where we came from and who we are. Okay. Afro-Caribeño. It is very confusing terminology, people. Because that's why I asked Mr. Figueroa to bring this map for me. If you observe this map from here, you will see that Caribbean seas came from the Gulf of Mexico. Okay? All the way to Central America, coming to Colombia, Venezuela, and the Guyanas. All those countries are surrounded by Caribbean Sea. So, when we are talking about Garifuna with Honduras, are we talking also about all those people? In the Caribbean, we are not.
No.
Garifuna is Garifuna in Honduras or Belize or Guatemala, and Caribbean is Caribbean, which is millions of people. Is that clear for you guys? Okay, they want to also use Afro-Antillanos. Those are the Antilles, from Cuba all the way to Barbados, here. Countries are 18 in total, people, from Cuba, Haiti, Santo Domingo, all the way down. Here we have two groups of islands, U.S. Virgin Island and British Virgin Islands. You go all the way down, Martinique is French territory. Saint Martin is half French and Holland, and you go all the way down. I am talking to you about that islands because unfortunately I used to work on the cruise ship as a crew member, and I visited most of those islands except Cuba. That's the only one I didn't visit. I went to Jamaica and Bahamas. So those islands are the one called Antilles, and Christopher Columbus called it. That is why they call those islands West Indies also, because Colon called them Indian, so here they call it the West Indies.
That's right, yeah.
Which historically and geographically is incorrect. But they call it the West Indies. And wherever the school you go, here in the United States, they are going to tell you that it's West Indies. Any people from those islands is going to say West Indies because that's the way they are accustomed to say. But it was a mistake calling India. The another mistake they are having in Honduras when they talk about when they want to identify themselves. Afro-Latino. That means African speaking Latin. I don't know one single Garifuna who speaks Latin.
Mr.
I
Mr.
think-
Palacio.
I am more than 50 years old and I don't know one Garifuna speaking Latin.
Lower the cliff.
Okay? And the Latin is spoken today only in Vatican,
That's right.
by Pope.
But
That's the only one. That's the only place.
that's true.
Another denomination they use Afro-Hispano because they speak Spanish. So they consider themselves Afro-Hispano. Ladies and gentlemen, the correct words to denominate the people who speak Spanish are those two: Hispano hablante or Hispano parlante. That's the correct vocabulary to categorize those who speak Spanish. When you say that you are Hispano parlante or Hispano hablante, you are not saying what race you belong to, nor what country you belong to, nor your ethnicity. But
right.
you speak Spanish, period.
That's right.
Let's talk a few seconds about the education in Honduras. Please be aware to help me, guys.
Okay, we're here.
I just want to emphasize how difficult it is for we as black people in Honduras to reach out our maximum potentiality in the educational system in Honduras. It's not easy, okay? It has been easy for us, and I think I have to witness here, to step up here in English while we came here speaking Spanish. It has been easy for us to move up than to move up in Honduras on the Spanish language. Believe it or not. Even though we have to face more difficulties here because we as black, we are in disadvantage. As immigrant, we are disadvantaged. And as a black Spanish speaking, even more.
Three strikes.
But still, we have been able to move, which is not easy to do it in Honduras. For instance, the University of Honduras was opened on September 1847. The School of Medicine was opened on 1882, 5 years later. And the two first black graduates from that university came 115 years later. Two MDs, Austin Bowman from Puerto Cortés and Alfonso Lacayo from Limón. 115 years later.
Wow.
But ironically, in 15 years, no, since 1999, to 2010, we had graduated 115 doctors from Cuba.
Right, yeah.
Escuela Latinoamericana de Medicina. Latin American School of Medicine. We have graduated in 13 years 115 doctors.
Garina?
Garina.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's only in Honduras.
Yeah, that's only from Honduras.
Because
Yeah,
in
right.
Belize, my cousin Agnes has graduated from there too.
Right.
And her brother Jeffrey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can see the difference.
In education.
Right. Honduras also is identified, it is known internationally for being the most racist country in this continent today.
Racist?
Yes.
Yeah, on the second forest behind Haiti.
Wow.
It is recognized by United Nations as the most racist country in America today.
What a horrible
Honduras.
distinction.
Yep.
Even though the laws in Honduras, if you read them, sound so beautiful, okay? For instance, it says that all men are born free and equal in rights, okay? In Honduras, there is no privileged classes. All Hondurans are equal before the law,
Yeah, right.
okay? Declares punishable any discrimination on grounds of race, sex, class, and other injurious to the human dignity. The law will establish the offenses and penalties for the violator of this law. This was written in the Constitution of 1982, 30 years ago, and there had not been no official discipline for their action against black people in Honduras.
They haven't been persecuted.
Not even verbal discipline. When you review the piece of the paper Mr. Ronnie Figueroa gave to you, you will see multiple incidents of racism against black people in Honduras, and nothing has been corrected up to this point. Garina would deny access to the school. Garina deny access to promotion in daily positions. Garina would deny access to the medical care, closing clinics in Garina people, towns, etc., etc., etc.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes, sir.
I want to add, in 1992, Rafael Leonardo Callejas, president of Honduras, declared officially the bilingual education in Honduras. And yet, about 20 years later, still not been implemented practically, but by the law, it's supposed to be bilingual.
Yes, bilingual, that means in the sense to be Garifuna and Spanish. Actually, yes, came from Honduras 3 weeks ago. I was involved in some activities with Garifuna teachers. I attended three conferences. It is sad, people, how deep can go into your personality when your personality has been shaped up for years to behave on certain ways. And believe it or not, are the Garinawood teachers who have been used against their own people to prevent the implementation of that program. It is sad. It is sad. So, the Garifuna language has not been taught in Honduras because the Garifuna people. Okay?
I will object a little bit to that.
Okay.
because I think the education system, like you started earlier, the education system in Honduras is designed to actually make you as a black, not to believe in yourself, to make you feel less than everybody else. That's how the education is designed in Honduras. And then the Garifuna people or the black people in Honduras will try to do everything possible to be accepted, by those so-called white. Therefore, and another thing is now the political involvement with the education. I think that has to play, but the Garifuna people will be willing to participate on, to get better and to help the education of their own people. But the thing is that those who went to the cities, you know how they were brainwashed, right? So when they come back, they're not the same anymore. They have the message of those who put it in their brain. And what can we expect from them? So I wouldn't say that we are the one who are preventing ourselves from the implementation of the bilingual education in Honduras. Because I think the government have a lot of responsibilities with the Garifuna people, which is not complying.
Again, Mr. Reyes, in the department of Colón where I came from, the fact says that, because I met with the people, I met with the teacher, both sides, those who support the bilingual education and those who oppose the bilingual education. Those who oppose the bilingual education in the area where I came from are those who were appointed because they were constituency. For the political party, they were appointed, but they were not the best qualified individual to hold those positions. So when those who do have the qualifications want to step in, those put the block to prevent them going on. That was the reality I faced, and that was the reality I encountered. I went deep into it, but somebody told me, hey,
Back off.
you better start. Okay, I've been told that many times, I'm not afraid anymore.
Oh my God.
Because I've been very aggressive. Mr. Alvarez, more than 30 years ago, we've been activating those kind of things. So we've been.
Make careful to that.
Okay, so. Okay.
And when he says back off, it's because they're gonna kill you.
But it has to do with that corrupt system, right? In Honduras, because if there is a law to implement something, then let the education ministry implement it, right? But
As you will see, there are so many things to talk about the reality of the Garifuna people in Honduras that we are not going to be able to do it in 2 nights, 2 days. It is so much information. But I hope that with the brief information I just give to you guys, that will open up the door for you so you can continue doing your own investigation for your own self to find more information about it. It's not easy, okay, to understand the Garifuna ideology, because this one is blanco, so it's not going to mingle with this because this is black. Even though the majority of people are dark skinned, they do not accept that they are black. There is nowhere. You are offending this individual to tell him that he is black or he has black descendant. No matter how he curly hair might be, but he's not going to accept that he's black. To the point that in the last census in Honduras, 92% of the population did not identify themselves with any race.
Wow.
92% did not say what race that belongs to.
they don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know.
But it's not because the people itself, it's the system.
Yeah.
It's the government. Okay?
In the United States, the Euro-Caucasian population is overrepresented because a lot of Mexicans and Hondurans declare themselves as white.
Okay, yes. Cuban, Puerto Rican, Mexican,
Right.
Argentinian, Chilean, etc., etc.
Ecuadorian,
They're all white.
I have this, I have
But
Salvador.
don't you ever forget the way it was designed by the United States government is to confuse us. Okay? Race, other Asian, other Latin American. Cuba is one category, Argentina is another category, Mexican is another category, Puerto Rico is another, and Central American is another category.
I did not know Ecuador had black people till I saw the team on the Olympics and everybody black. Everybody black on the team. in
Sir, there is,
Ecuador.
we are everywhere in the world.
Right.
That's true.
We are present everywhere in the world.
You're in China.
Okay? We are in Argentina, we are in Chile, we are in Korea, we are in Philippines. It's very confusing to say African descendant because there are a lot of African descendant white in Brazil. Okay? There are a lot African descendant in Portugal. There are a lot in France,
South Africa.
in Spain. Never to say South Africa. Okay? When we say African descendant, we should know, we should see the African maps, how many countries are there. I think there are more than 50 countries.
52.
How many?
53, 52?
All right. So you can see. So we need to be open-minded, and we need to dig into the history to find out the best way where we fit in history.
Right here, there you go. That's the map right there.
Another information I would like to share with you guys. Is we have the first, even though we arrived to Honduras on 1797. We had our first congressman in Honduras from 1727 to 1732. Okay, 1927 to 1932, Catarino Castro Serrano. Okay. The second one we had, that was alternate. His name was Hilario Mena Melendez from 1957. He died, I think, 1 or 2 years later in Mexico. In 1957, his name was Hilario Mena Melendez. He was from Minerva's hometown.
Really?
Yeah. ¿Lo conoces? No.
Yeah.
Sí.
So Minerva, what town are you from? Oh, Guiriga.
The third one, it was from 1972 to 74, Abel González Caballero. It was from Minerva Stone also. She knows this one. She knows this one.
You were the second was in Minerva. Sing it hard with the
Catarino Castro Serrano. If you guys need pen and paper, we have some.
Can I have a pen
Yeah.
and a piece of paper? Aki, Aurelio? Yeah, Aurelio Martinez. But you're the senator, right?
So we have to go in the house. You can't put it in the bottom.
A congressman.
Yeah. So the last one we're going to get. Yeah. And yeah, I was thinking my hand, man. I've been not going to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are you done with this?
Yeah.
We are going to talk about a bit about the village of Punta Gorda, the only Garifuna village in the Roatan Island in Honduras. Okay. I have not found so far any written documentation about this village. The information I have is from family members. The oldest inhabitant from that island, for any given reason, I was linked to this family. So that, and the only reason, or maybe the basic reason by which I was so interested, it is because there is some Gonzalez name involved with this family. So I tried to get